What if I told you that the very thing you might be most proud of, your intelligence, is the single biggest obstacle standing between you and real wealth? We're taught to believe that the smartest people win, that you need complex strategies, secret knowledge, and a genius-level IQ to become a millionaire. But that's a lie. A dangerous lie that keeps countless brilliant people stuck in a cycle of analysis, anxiety, and inaction. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a man who was too smart for his own good and the painfully simple habit he discovered that changed everything. This isn't about a stock tip or a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about a fundamental mindset shift that separates the thinkers from the wealthy. Welcome to Hope to Wealth, the place where we explore real stories about money to help you build your own financial freedom. We've all seen them. The people with advanced degrees, who can debate complex economic theories, who are always reading about the next big thing. But their bank accounts never seem to reflect their intellect. They suffer from analysis paralysis, constantly searching for the perfect investment or the flawless business plan. And in their search for perfection, they achieve nothing. They are trapped by their own brains. In this video, we're going to dismantle that trap. We'll follow the journey of a man who broke free from the curse of being smart and embraced a single, almost embarrassingly simple habit that unlocked the door to millionaire status. This story might feel uncomfortably familiar, but it contains the key you might be missing. If you're ready to learn how to get out of your own way and start building real, tangible wealth, you're in the right place. And as we get started, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It tells YouTube you're getting value, and it helps us reach more people just like you. Let's call him Alex. If you met Alex at a party, you'd be impressed. He held an MBA from a prestigious school, worked a six-figure job as a data analyst for a tech firm, and could speak with authority on everything from blockchain technology to quantitative easing. His friends called him the brain. Whenever they had a question about money, they went to Alex. He could build you a spreadsheet that would model out 50 years of financial projections with a dozen variables. He had read every seminal book on investing, from The Intelligent Investor to A Random Walk Down Wall Street. He spent his nights not watching TV, but scouring financial subreddits, listening to podcasts from obscure economists, and trying to find the alpha, that hidden edge that no one else saw. From the outside, Alex was the poster child for financial acumen. But on the inside, there was a gnawing dark secret. Alex was going nowhere. His net worth was a fraction of what it should have been. He had a decent 401k, sure, but his personal trading account was a graveyard of brilliant ideas. He'd jump into a speculative biotech stock after 100 hours of research, only to see it crater. He'd devise a complex option strategy that was theoretically perfect, but a single unpredictable market event would wipe out his gains. He was always one step away from the big one. His apartment was filled with whiteboards covered in intricate diagrams for business ideas, a subscription box for artisanal coffee, an app to optimize grocery shopping, a consulting firm for small businesses. Each one was meticulously planned with market research, competitive analysis, and detailed financial models. But not a single one had ever been launched. Why? Because they weren't perfect yet. He'd find one potential flaw, one competitor he hadn't accounted for, one aspect of the marketing plan that wasn't fully optimized, and he'd go back to the drawing board, telling himself he was just being prudent. He was being smart. Meanwhile, he watched in quiet agony as his old college roommate, a guy named Ben, who was a C student at best, was crushing it. Ben started a simple landscaping business. He didn't have a grand vision or a 50-page business plan. His strategy was simple: do a great job and ask for referrals. While Alex was modeling market penetration, Ben was mowing lawns. While Alex was A/B testing landing page copy for a business that didn't exist, Ben was hiring his first employee. Now, Ben owned a fleet of trucks and had a multi-six-figure income. He just bought a house in the suburbs, the kind of house Alex had on his vision board. The irony was suffocating. Alex, the smart one, was renting, while Ben, the simple one, was building an empire. This was Alex's trap, the trap of intelligence. His brain, the asset he was most proud of, had become his prison. It provided him with an infinite number of reasons to hesitate, to doubt, and to wait for the perfect moment that would never come. He wasn't making progress. He was just perfecting his excuses. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Alex had spent the last 3 months and about $15,000 of his savings on what he believed was a foolproof crypto trade. He hadn't just aped into a meme coin. He had done the work. He'd read the white paper, analyzed the tokenomics. He was active in the Discord. He understood the technology better than 99% of other investors. He was sure this was it. The project was set to make a major announcement. Instead, the project's founder announced they were abandoning the venture, and the coin's value plummeted 97% in under an hour. His $15,000 was now worth less than a dinner for two. It wasn't just the financial loss that hurt, it was the crushing blow to his identity. He, Alex, the smart one, had been played for a fool. That weekend, defeated, he visited his uncle Mark. Mark was a quiet, unassuming man who had retired at 55. He wasn't a Wall Street whiz or a tech mogul. He owned a portfolio of boring rental properties in a few Midwestern states. Alex had always politely dismissed his uncle's strategy as unsophisticated. Over coffee, Alex finally broke down and confessed everything: the failed trades, the unlaunched businesses, the crushing weight of his own intellect. Mark listened patiently, stirring his coffee. When Alex finished, Mark didn't offer sympathy. He just looked at him and said, "You know, your problem is you think you're playing chess. You think if you can just think 10 moves ahead of everyone else, you'll win. But building wealth isn't chess, Alex. It's a treadmill. It's not about being clever. It's about putting one foot in front of the other, day after day without stopping." Alex started to argue, to explain the nuances of his research, but Mark held up a hand. "Let me ask you something. In the last 5 years, how many weeks have you consistently, without fail, invested a set amount of money into a simple, low-cost index fund?" Alex was silent. He hadn't. He was always moving money around, chasing the next opportunity. "And how many of your brilliant business ideas," Mark continued, "have you actually tried to sell to a single customer?" Again, silence. "You see," Mark said, leaning in, "you're addicted to the complexity. It makes you feel smart. It makes you feel like you're in control. But you're just spinning your wheels. The secret isn't in finding the perfect investment. The secret is in the relentless, boring, unsexy repetition of a good enough action." The words hit Alex like a physical blow because they were true. He had been so focused on finding the perfect strategy that he had failed to execute any strategy at all. His uncle's success wasn't due to a high IQ, it was due to decades of disciplined, consistent action, buying one property, then another, dealing with tenants, fixing toilets, and collecting rent checks. It was a simple, repeatable process. It was a habit. That conversation was the epiphany. Alex realized he had to make a choice. He could continue being the smartest broke guy in the room, or he could swallow his pride and learn to be consistent. If this is resonating with you, if you've ever felt trapped by your own thoughts, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. We're about to get into the how-to. So, what is this simple habit that creates millionaires? It's not a single specific action, but rather a 3-part framework for action that Alex adopted from his uncle. It's a system designed to bypass the smart brain's tendency to overcomplicate things. The first part is, choose your boring vehicle. Notice the word boring. The goal is to pick one and only one, proven, well-understood path to wealth and commit to it. Not 5, not 3. 1. For his uncle, it was rental properties. For his friend Ben, it was a service business. For many others, it's simply investing in a broad market index fund, like the S&P 500 or a total stock market fund. The key is that it shouldn't be exciting. It shouldn't be the hot, new thing everyone is talking about. Why? Because excitement leads to emotion, and emotion is the enemy of consistent investing. Alex chose two vehicles, one for his investments and one for his income. For investments, he committed to putting $1,000 every single month into VTSAX, a total stock market index fund. No more individual stocks, no more crypto, no more options, just one fund every month. For his income, he took his perfect business plans and threw them away. He asked himself, what's the simplest service I can sell to people tomorrow? He landed on professional resume writing. He was good at it, the startup cost was zero, and he could get his first client in a week. The second part of the framework is automate the action. The smart brain loves to make decisions. This step is about taking decision-making out of the equation. Alex immediately set up an automatic transfer from his checking account to his Vanguard account for $1,000 on the first of every month. It was no longer a choice he had to make, it just happened. He didn't have to decide if the market was too high or too low. The decision was already made. For his resume business, he created a simple, repeatable system. A standard questionnaire for clients, a template for the first draft, a set process for revisions. He systemized it to the point where he could complete a project with minimal creative energy, which prevented him from trying to reinvent the wheel for every new client. The goal of automation and systemization is to make consistency the path of least resistance. The third and most difficult part is ignore the noise. Once you've chosen your boring vehicle and automated the action, your job is to put on blinders. Alex's smart brain was constantly screaming at him. A news headline would shout about a looming recession, and his brain would say, "Pause the automatic investment. We need to wait." A friend would mention a tech stock that was guaranteed to pop, and his brain would whisper, "Just a small bet, don't miss out." This is the hardest part of the habit. It requires you to actively fight your own intelligence. Alex made a conscious decision to disengage. He unsubscribed from dozens of financial newsletters. He deleted the stock market app from his phone's home screen. He stopped listening to financial podcasts that focused on daily market movements. He told his friends he was no longer discussing hot stock tips. He trusted the system he had built, and he understood that his daily opinions were more likely to hurt his progress than help it. This three-step process, choose boring, automate action, ignore noise, became his new operating system. It was designed to protect him from his greatest enemy, himself. The first year of implementing this new habit was, in a word, brutal. It was painfully, mind-numbingly boring. Every day, Alex's brain, accustomed to the dopamine hit of complex problem-solving and the thrill of the chase, rebelled. He would log into his Vanguard account and see his balance. It went up a little. Sometimes it went down. There was no excitement, no story of a genius stock pick to tell his friends. There was just the slow, almost imperceptible accumulation of shares. He felt like he was watching paint dry while a high-speed race was happening all around him. His resume writing business was equally unglamorous. He wasn't building a disruptive tech startup. He was helping people fix their formatting and choose better action verbs. Some clients were difficult. The work was repetitive. On many nights, he'd find himself staring at his old whiteboards, the ghosts of his brilliant business ideas calling to him. The temptation to abandon the simple, boring path for something more intellectually stimulating was immense. To combat this, he did something incredibly simple. He bought a large wall calendar and a red marker. Every day he stuck to his plan. Every day the automatic investment went through as scheduled. And every day he did the work for his side business without getting distracted. He would draw a big red X over that day. His goal wasn't to be a millionaire in a year. His new goal was simply not to break the chain of X's. This small ritual shifted his focus from the distant, uncertain outcome, wealth, to the immediate, controllable process, daily action. The chain of red X's became his new source of validation. It was tangible proof of his consistency. Slowly, things started to change. The first few resume clients led to referrals. He got better and faster. What started as a small side gig making a few $100s a month grew to $1,000, then $2,000. It wasn't life-changing money yet, but it was real. It was income generated not from a brilliant idea, but from showing up. His investment account also began to grow. After a year, the $12,000 he had invested, plus some modest market gains, was more than he had ever managed to hold on to in his years of smart trading. It was a solid, tangible foundation. He was building something real, not just chasing shadows. The internal battle never fully went away, but it got quieter. He learned to see his smart brain's desire for complexity as a distraction, like a noisy child in the back of the car. He could acknowledge it, but he didn't have to hand it the steering wheel. The grind was real, but for the first time in his life, so was the progress. The simple habit was working, not because it was brilliant, but because it was relentless. By the way, if you're finding value in Alex's journey, take a second to support the channel with a quick thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss our future stories. It helps more than you know. Let's fast forward. 5 years into his new life, Alex was unrecognizable from the stressed-out analyst chasing ghosts. His boring VTSX portfolio, fed by $1,000 a month from his salary plus all the profits from his side business, had swelled to over $150,000. He had experienced a major market downturn during that time. The old Alex would have panicked, sold everything at the bottom, and tried to time the recovery. The new Alex did nothing. His automatic investments continued on schedule, buying up more shares at a discount. He had ignored the noise, trusted the system, and was rewarded for it. His simple resume writing business had also transformed. Through sheer consistency and hundreds of satisfied clients, he had built a powerful reputation. He was now charging premium rates, had hired 2 part-time writers to handle the workload, and had turned his small side hustle into a legitimate business that generated a consistent $10,000 a month in profit. It wasn't a billion-dollar unicorn, but it was a cash-generating machine built on a foundation of simple, repeatable actions. Now, let's jump forward again, 10 years from that fateful conversation with his uncle. Alex, now in his early 40s, was a millionaire. The math was simple, but staggering. His investment portfolio, fueled by a decade of relentless automated contributions and the magical power of compound growth, had crossed the $600,000 mark. His business, which he'd continued to systemize and scale modestly, was not only providing him with a fantastic income, but was also a saleable asset worth an estimated $400,000. There was no single miraculous event. There was no lucky stock pick. His wealth wasn't the result of one smart decision, but the result of 120 scheduled, non-negotiable investment contributions and thousands of hours of focused, repetitive work. It was the victory of the treadmill over the chessboard. One day, he ran into an old colleague from his tech job, one of the guys who used to call him the brain. The colleague was excited, talking about a new complex DeFi protocol he was investing in, the same kind of opportunity that would have consumed the old Alex. Alex just smiled. He realized the ultimate freedom he had gained wasn't just financial. It was mental. He no longer felt the need to be the smartest person in the room. He didn't crave the validation that came from complexity. His success was built on a foundation of humility, the humility to admit that a simple, proven path, executed with unwavering consistency, will always beat sporadic bursts of genius. The simple habit hadn't just made him wealthy, it had made him calm, focused, and free. Alex's story is a powerful testament to a truth we often choose to ignore. In the world of wealth building, consistency eats complexity for breakfast. He didn't get rich by outsmarting the market. He got rich by outdisciplining his own desire to be clever. He stopped trying to predict the future and started focusing on controlling his actions in the present. He chose a boring vehicle, he automated the action, and he ruthlessly ignored the noise. This is the simple habit. It's not glamorous, and it won't make for a thrilling story at a cocktail party, but it works. So I ask you, where in your financial life are you being too smart? Where are you letting the search for the perfect plan prevent you from starting with a good one? What is one simple, consistent action you can commit to starting today? Let me know your thoughts and your commitment in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story provided you with a new perspective, please give this video a thumbs up, and most importantly, subscribe to Hope to Wealth and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Share this with one person you know who is brilliant, but stuck. Thank you for investing your time with us today. Keep it simple, stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video.